Okay, disc number 2. This is the second of the two bootable discs that I was able to successfully transfer across from genuine Amiga discs into a modern electronic format. So here's my emulator. If I stick the disk image in and say go, we will load up some form of text followed by a menu, if I recall. Right. Oh, look at the little bouncy effect. That's yet another one of these little utilities that I saw on somebody's disk somewhere, sometime, and thought I'll have that, and took a copy and figured out how to use it. So a little bit of standard text, and then there's my address from 30 years ago, and there we go, the date. So the previous disc was the 23rd of the 1st, 23rd of January 1994. This is the 6th of July 1994. If we do this, we'll have another bounce, and then our menu. So 3 games on this one. The little guys I've looked at in the previous video because that was also on the other disc. So let's have a look at the first 2. Now this one I didn't have a fancy loader menu. In fact, it was just a cheat. The actual game files on the disc are named 1, 2 and 3. So when I type in 1, oops, not 11, 1, and press enter, it's simply just telling it to run that game through the command line without anything fancy. So, Splat. Not what you could really call a game, I suppose. More in the way of stress relief, perhaps. So let's hit the right mouse button here. Basically, you shoot lots of people. And that was the thing. This was basically, I think, me experimenting with different effects. I'd worked out how you can cause basically a persistent graphic to stay on the screen without actually having to put a little object there. So that meant that in this game I can have you shooting all over the place and leaving divots in the dirt and leaving holes in the walls and leaving blood splatters everywhere. So this is the brainchild of 1994. I was 18 years old, so I may have done it slightly earlier. This is what happens when a sort of 17, 18-year-old decides to make a silly little time waster game. So what we have here when it loads up, we have a screen. Walking around on the screen, we have, that's a fairly primitive 3, in fact, is that even 3 frames? It's like 2 frames walk cycle on those guys, but they're walking backwards and forwards. And up the top we have actually kind of better almost animated, actually not much better. Do you know what those are? I'm almost certain that as the little guys walk backwards and forwards, I stole that animation from the old Battletech role-playing game on the Amiga. I was going to say I swiped it from Lemmings, but the Lemmings were much better animated than those. So yes, these guys just walk backwards and forwards. These guys do a bunch of things. They wave, they shoot at you, they drop their pants because I was an immature teenager. And I guess they're just as immature. But you have the sight. When you push the mouse button, it goes bang. And there we go, it starts making noise for some reason. I don't know why it wasn't making noise. So we can shoot the ground, and there's divots in the ground. We can shoot the wall. Oh, I see, that's right. It doesn't make a ricochet noise on the ground. That was relatively clever. You can make holes in the wall, and then you can also make holes in the people. So once again, the sound effects stolen from other games. If you know your Amiga games, you could probably place them. I can't off the top of my head. But so these guys slump to the ground and then disappear, leaving a delightful little blood trail on the wall. And these guys basically explode. So that was the amount of time I took to animate those guys dissolving in blood with their head falling off and flopping around and landing on the ground. I mean, that was... I'm just going to lean on the teenage boy excuse for that, I suppose. And I have to say, this is really all there is to it. It was one of those things where I was just happy to get it to work. I was happy that I could shoot at the ball and it makes a ping noise and makes a hole in the wall. I was happy that it could register that and leave the blood splatters. I was happy that the animations worked. That sound really is quite overpowering, isn't it? So, I mean, I guess you could make a case for this being stress relief. Oh, that's right. I put in a little counter. Every 50 kills, you get a little ding, ding, ding. I noticed, looks like there can never be more than 4 of those guys. And how many of those dudes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I wonder, there was a fairly strict limits on how many objects you could have on screen and still have them nicely animated and with full colour and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so that's that game. So now what was it to... What was it? It was R to refresh the screen. Right, and so basically if you play it for a long time, you could end up filling the entire screen with stuff. And then I think, did I say it was Q to quit? There we go. And a little bit of sarcasm there, look at that. Then press a key and it actually quits the game, which surprises me. I thought it would go back to the title screen, but on the other hand, if you were tired of shooting things, then you probably just wanted to finish the game anyway, didn't you? So, number 2, Sim Space Invaders. Now, there's a bit of background to this. Sensible Software was a production house studio, bunch of guys, basically, back then, who made all sorts of great games, and one of their most beloved... Oh, wait up, listen to this.
Press fire to start.
That is the limit of the Amiga 500 speech synthesis engine, which I, in this game, had a little bit of fun with. So Sensible Software, they one of their biggest hits was the game Sensible Soccer, which was sort of a soccer game plus like team management simulator thing. And at the time, sim games were all the rage. Sim City, of course, the original Sim City was massive. And then the game Sim Ant had just come out, where it was like Sim City only for an ant hill, and you had to sort of expand your ant hill and breed different kinds of ants, and I can't remember, some rubbish like that. And then on Amiga Power, the Amiga magazine that I bought every month, they like to have their cover discs with little demos, and one time they had a bunch of things from Sensible Software, and as a bit of a joke, they released this game called Sim Brick. And what that was you had a screen with a little ant walking backwards and forwards on it, and you clicked the button and a brick fell out of the sky and squashed the ant. And that was it. That was the entire game. And I basically looked at that and said, well, if a professional game company can get away with producing an entirely one-note thing and actually distribute it and get people to like it, why not me? So this is basically this is SimBrick, just in a different guise. So if I push the button...
Welcome, Captain. Select an option.
I mean, I'm not sure. Did I go for the science fiction theme specifically because I had the robot voice or not? Or did I stick the robot voice on after I decided on the science fiction theme? I can't remember. Now, the joke here, of course, is that you have a bunch of different options. Only one of them is highlighted, and you can't actually do anything but select the option to blow the crap out of a peace-loving planet.
Good idea, Captain.
Why, thank you, computer. Do that.
Hyperspace now.
Here comes your spaceship. You can actually move it up and down just for a little bit of control. Then you can push the fire button.
You missed, stupid.
The fun that I had in getting a computer to call you stupid. Once again, teenage boy. But instead, if you actually aim properly...
Well done, Captain. You have destroyed planet Earth.
And that literally
Press fire to start.
Is all there is to it. You can just keep doing that over and over again. And you can. I don't know if you would. I mean, once again, for me, it was just the fun of I have an idea and managed to turn that idea into reality. I mean, you'll see here I've got... what was I using? Deluxe Paint, I guess. I'd got the hang of the whatever tool it was, so that you could write something and then deform it so you get the Star Wars style writing sloping off into the background. I've got the pretty star field. I could draw myself a planet Earth, which has New Zealand on the map, of course, because of course it does. But really, you've seen all there is to see, so I can quit. Can I quit? There we go. I can quit back to the menu now. We've already seen the little guy, so there's probably no need to get into that again. And so that is my disc number 2. That is the fruits of my teenage talents and essentially the limits of my teenage abilities. So the other discs I have, which I'll look at later, are not bootable game discs. They're just my own data discs, which have a bunch of projects on them in various states of completeness. But there's a bunch of interesting stuff there, so I guess that'll be what I look at next time.